Do you ever stop to consider the power your words have over your own life? It's a question that may seem odd at first, yet it holds the key to unlocking the immense potential within you. This is the power of self-talk, a concept that dictates the course of our lives more than we often realize. Every day, our minds are filled with an ongoing internal dialogue, a narrative that guides our feelings, behaviors, and ultimately our lives. It's like a radio station broadcasting in our heads, and we are the DJs, the ones in control. Yet how often do we pay attention to what we're playing? This dialogue, this self-talk, can take two distinct forms, positive and negative. On one hand, positive self-talk acts as a cheering squad, encouraging us, promoting self-confidence and driving us towards our goals. It's like a gentle whisper saying, "You've got this, you're capable, you're enough." It's a powerful force that propels us forward, helping us to navigate the rough seas of life with courage and resilience. On the other hand, negative self-talk can be a destructive cyclone, belittling our abilities, magnifying our mistakes, and instilling self-doubt. It's that nagging voice in the back of your mind whispering, "You can't do it, you'll fail." It's a force that holds us back, hindering our progress and keeping us from reaching our fullest potential. The truth is, the words we tell ourselves matter more than we think. They shape our perception of ourselves and the world around us. They can either build us up like a strong, sturdy house, or they can tear us down like a wrecking ball to a fragile structure. And so we must ask ourselves, what kind of self-talk are we engaging in? Are we our own cheerleaders, boosting our spirits with positivity and encouragement? Or are we our own worst critics, tearing ourselves down with negativity and self-doubt? Remember, the power of self-talk is in your hands. It's up to you to use it wisely, to harness its potential to uplift and inspire, rather than to belittle and discourage. The words you tell yourself can either lift you up or tear you down. Consider the story of Thomas, a successful entrepreneur. Thomas was not always the confident and self-assured business person we see today. At the beginning of his entrepreneurial journey, he was fraught with self-doubt and negative self-talk. He would often question his abilities, berate himself for his mistakes, and convince himself that he was not capable of achieving his dreams. This constant barrage of self-criticism led to a decline in his performance and a growing sense of despair. However, Thomas knew deep within that he had to break free from this destructive pattern. He began to delve into the power of positive self-talk and how it could potentially turn his life around. He started replacing his negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," he would tell himself, "I can and I will." Instead of dwelling on his mistakes, he would view them as opportunities for growth. This wasn't an overnight transformation. It was a gradual process filled with trials and tribulations. There were days when the old negative patterns would resurface, threatening to pull him back into the abyss of self-doubt. But Thomas was determined. He would remind himself of his worth and capabilities, and with each passing day, his belief in himself grew stronger. As his mindset shifted, so did his reality. His performance improved, his relationships flourished, and he started making strides towards his entrepreneurial dreams. He was no longer held back by the shackles of negative self-talk. Instead, he was propelled forward by the power of positive affirmations. Today, Thomas stands as a testament to the transformative power of positive self-talk. His journey from self-doubt to self-assurance is not just inspiring, but also a beacon of hope for others struggling with negative self-talk. Thomas's story shows us how altering our self-talk can drastically change our life trajectory. Now, let's turn our attention towards Maria, a renowned artist. Maria, like many artists, often found herself staring at blank canvases, her mind filled with doubt and uncertainty. She was grappling with a creative block, a common plight among artists. The more she tried to force creativity, the more elusive it became. The frustration only seemed to tighten its grip, and her self-talk turned increasingly negative. She would catch herself saying, "I've lost my touch," or "I'm just not good enough." But Maria knew that she couldn't let these self-deprecating thoughts dictate her life. She needed to break free from this negative cycle. She decided to steer her inner dialogue towards positivity, to use words that can encourage and inspire her. She started telling herself, "I am a creative force, and every stroke I make creates something beautiful." The change didn't come overnight, of course. It was a gradual process, and there were times when the old doubts would creep back in. But Maria had made a commitment to herself. She continued to practice positive self-talk, and over time she noticed a shift. Her creativity started flowing again, and she found herself excited to paint, to create, to express. And it wasn't just her art that improved. Maria began to notice changes in other areas of her life as well. She felt happier, more confident. She had a newfound zest for life that was contagious. Her relationships improved, and she found herself taking on new challenges with a sense of joy and anticipation. Maria's journey is a perfect example of how positive self-talk can not only help overcome creative blocks but also transform one's life. Her story proves that the words we tell ourselves matter. They can either limit us or liberate us. They can either imprison us in the walls of negativity or open the doors to a world of unlimited possibilities. Now let's turn our attention towards Maria, a renowned artist. Maria, like many artists, often found herself staring at blank canvases, her mind filled with doubt and uncertainty. She was grappling with a creative block, a common plight among artists. The more she tried to force creativity, the more elusive it became. The frustration only seemed to tighten its grip, and her self-talk turned increasingly negative. She would catch herself saying, "I've lost my touch," or "I'm just not good enough." But Maria knew that she couldn't let these self-deprecating thoughts dictate her life. She needed to break free from this negative cycle. She decided to steer her inner dialogue towards positivity, to use words that can encourage and inspire her. She started telling herself, "I'm a creative force, and every stroke I make creates something beautiful." The change didn't come overnight, of course. It was a gradual process, and there were times when the old doubts would creep back in. But Maria had made a commitment to herself. She continued to practice positive self-talk, and over time, she noticed a shift. Her creativity started flowing again, and she found herself excited to paint, to create, to express. And it wasn't just her art that improved. Maria began to notice changes in other areas of her life as well. She felt happier, more confident. She had a newfound zest for life that was contagious. Her relationships improved, and she found herself taking on new challenges with a sense of joy and anticipation. Maria's journey is a perfect example of how positive self-talk can not only help overcome creative blocks, but also transform one's life. Her story proves that the words we tell ourselves matter. They can either limit us or liberate us. They can either imprison us in the walls of negativity or open the doors to a world of unlimited possibilities. You may be wondering, what's the science behind all this? Well, let's dive right into it. The brain, our body's command center, is a fascinating organ that processes our self-talk, whether it's positive or negative. Now imagine your brain as a garden and your thoughts as seeds. Positive self-talk plants flowers, while negative self-talk plants weeds. As you water these seeds with repetition, they grow, shaping the landscape of your mind. This metaphor is not as far-fetched as it might seem, as our thoughts and words can physically remodel the structure of our brain, a process known as neuroplasticity. When we engage in positive self-talk, our brain releases chemicals like dopamine, which make us feel good and reduce stress and anxiety. It can also boost our confidence and increase our motivation to achieve our goals. In essence, positive self-talk can lead to better mental and physical health, improved problem-solving skills, and an overall happier life. On the contrary, negative self-talk can trigger stress responses in our body. It can cause the release of cortisol, often referred to as the stress hormone, which can lead to a slew of health issues, including anxiety, depression, and even heart disease. Interestingly, research has shown that the language we use in self-talk matters. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that using your name or third-person pronouns during self-talk, a technique known as distanced self-talk, can help us better regulate our emotions, make wiser decisions, and reduce anxiety and stress. Moreover, language is not just a way to communicate, it shapes our reality. The words we use in self-talk can influence our perception of ourselves and our environment. Positive words can create a positive reality, while negative words can do the opposite. So remember, our brain is always listening, always processing. It's crucial to be mindful of what we are telling ourselves, because the science is clear. The words we tell ourselves have power. They can shape our brain, our body, and ultimately our lives. Scientific evidence confirms the power of self-talk. It's not just feel-good fluff. So how can you harness the power of positive self-talk? Well, there are several practical techniques you can employ to turn the tide in favor of positivity, and we're going to explore some of them right now. Firstly, let's talk about mindfulness. Mindfulness is all about being fully present in the moment, acknowledging your thoughts and feelings without judgment. It's about recognizing that negative self-talk is just that, talk, not fact. By practicing mindfulness, you can begin to separate yourself from the negative chatter in your mind, observing it without getting swept away. Next is the power of affirmation. Affirmations are positive statements that can help you challenge and overcome self-sabotaging thoughts. They're like mini pep talks you give yourself on a daily basis. Start your day with a positive affirmation like, "I am capable, I am strong," and see the difference it makes. Then there's cognitive restructuring, a fancy term for changing the way you think. It involves identifying negative thoughts, challenging them, and replacing them with positive ones. For instance, if you find yourself thinking, "I'll never be able to do this," stop, challenge that thought. Ask yourself, is this really true? More often than not, you'll find it isn't. Replace that negative thought with something more positive, such as, "I can do this if I take it one step at a time." Finally, remember to be patient with yourself. Changing the way you talk to yourself isn't something that happens overnight. It takes time and practice, just like learning a new language or mastering a musical instrument. But the rewards are well worth the effort. By practicing mindfulness, using affirmations, and restructuring your thoughts, you can start to shift your self-talk from negative to positive. You can start to believe in yourself more, to see the world in a more positive light, and to live a happier, more fulfilling life. With practice, these techniques can help you turn your inner critic into your biggest cheerleader. Positive self-talk isn't about ignoring life's challenges. It's about acknowledging these hurdles, yet refusing to let them define or limit us. It's about transforming our perspective, seeing each difficulty not as a mountain to be feared, but as an opportunity for growth. Imagine you're faced with a task at work that you've never done before. It's easy to fall into the trap of negative self-talk, with thoughts like, "I can't do this, it's too hard, I'm not good enough." But pause for a moment. What if you could change the narrative? What if you told yourself, "This is a fantastic opportunity to learn something new. I can take this on one step at a time. I am capable. I am resilient." Positive self-talk doesn't mean pretending that the task isn't challenging. It means acknowledging the challenge, yet choosing to focus on your abilities and potential instead of your perceived limitations. It's about viewing the challenge as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Let's consider another scenario. Suppose you've had a disagreement with a loved one. Negative self-talk might lead you to believe, "This is the end. They'll never forgive me." But again, positive self-talk can change the game. Try telling yourself, "We're both upset now, but we can work through this. I can apologize and make amends. Our relationship is strong enough to weather this storm." In both cases, positive self-talk isn't about denying the problem. It's about reframing it, turning it into a catalyst for growth and improvement. It's about empowering ourselves to face the task or mend the relationship, to rise above the challenge. In every challenge, there's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to become stronger. And positive self-talk helps us see and seize these opportunities. It encourages us to be brave, to be resilient, and to believe in ourselves, even when the going gets tough. Remember, positive self-talk empowers us to face our challenges with courage and resilience. It's not about ignoring the storm, but learning how to dance in the rain. Let's take a look at another inspiring case, that of James, a professional athlete. James was a top-tier rugby player, a man who lived and breathed the sport. He was known for his relentless drive and unwavering dedication, but, as is often the case in the world of professional sports, a severe injury threatened to derail his career. A torn ligament took him off the field and into months of painful rehabilitation. During this challenging period, James faced a torrent of negative self-talk. Thoughts of "I'll never play again" and "my career is over" constantly plagued his mind. He was engulfed in a storm of self-doubt and despair. But instead of succumbing to these destructive thoughts, James decided to take control of his mind. He began practicing positive self-talk, transforming his inner dialogue from "I can't" to "I can." Instead of focusing on his injury, he visualized himself back on the field, playing with the same intensity and skill as before. He replaced thoughts of "my career is over" with "this is just a temporary setback." Slowly but surely, James noticed a shift. His mood improved, his motivation surged, and his recovery began to progress at a faster pace. The power of his positive self-talk was manifesting physically, aiding his body in its healing process. James returned to his sport stronger than ever, not just physically but mentally as well. His positive self-talk had not only helped him recover from his injury, but had also equipped him with a powerful mental tool to face future adversities. His teammates and coaches noticed the change in him. James was more focused, more resilient, and more determined. His positive self-talk had not only transformed his mindset, but had also positively influenced those around him. So, what can we learn from James's story? It's simple. The power of positive self-talk is transformative. It can turn despair into hope, failure into success, and adversity into opportunity. James's comeback story demonstrates the transformative power of positive self-talk in overcoming adversity. The journey to positive self-talk is a personal and ongoing one. It is a path that weaves through the everyday, the mundane, the extraordinary, and the unexpected. Each step echoing with the power of the words we whisper to ourselves, words that can lift us up or pull us down. We've explored real-life examples of individuals who shifted their lives by shifting their self-talk. We've delved into the science behind self-talk, how it wires and rewires our brains, molding the reality we experience. We've learned techniques to cultivate a garden of positive self-talk, to tend to our thoughts and ensure they bloom into our best selves. We've looked at how to overcome challenges with the power of positive self-talk, transforming obstacles into opportunities. So, take these lessons, embrace them, and start paying attention to your self-talk, experimenting with the techniques shared. Remember, the words you tell yourself shape your reality. Choose them wisely.